Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending upon where you live around the world. Now, if you can put up with my croaky voice, we're going to go over this very simple, but I think very powerful approach to drawing the style of domes that I have been investigating over many years. And it's kind of culminated in what I've going to show now. Is this the final and only way I will draw my domes? Don't know. I kind of feel that this is one of the easiest methods of drawing this style of dome, not a geodesic dome as in, well, all the pictures and models and domes that you normally see, but this quad or grid-based domes. Now, I know another entity uses the quad dome name, but I'm just using it in reference to this is the quad, the at least four, not these four sides here, but the four quadrants of a dome, and it's based upon grids. These ones here. Pretty darn simple. I'm not very imaginative. I can't even say the word. I don't use my imagination. As I said, I've got a bit of a croaky voice today, so sorry about that. Now, I'm not going to go through the process in this video. That will be a separate video. But I want to reiterate and emphasize and promote why I do this way. So here we have the quad type of dome, the grid-based dome, in its normal configuration. It is based, and I've shown here, it's based upon this grid here. This is the ground level. I should put Chris on there, so I'll do that right now while I am yakking. And I do this to give some scale perspective to this opening. The dome itself would have a span, incorrectly worded, but a span from point to the point out here of 6 meters. So you could say it's 6 meters square. So these are the surfaces, and this is the wire frame of these surfaces. I like this because it's a reference point. The vertical lines are the scaffold, as you would have supporting something. It's a scaffold made up of vertical members. It then can be divided, instead of into these triangles, it can be divided up into these triangles that effectively replace the hexagon with a square with these two wing parts added on to complete the overall, the quarter dome. The difference here is that when you do that, you actually create a concave arrangement between these two surfaces here. Good, bad, or indifferent? I'm going to go with indifferent at the moment. So this is the wireframe to better or allow you to have a look at, put this way, to do other things. And we'll look at that at some stage. So that was just exactly the same structure, drawing method, dead easy to do, and, well, just the divisions of how or the output or outcome of joining the dots in a different sequence. I've then shown this as this may well be a type of cover or dome that you want to look at. So simple. Connecting dots that may not or should not be connected, well, I can. So I can connect these dots, which would remove the little peak opening, which we'll get to in the next dome over here. And these are flat surfaces. So we've taken, except for the very top one, which I really should have just had a flat square, but effectively we've got flat surfaces. Now that's going to help when we go to start framing instead of having all the triangles, which will still be there for bracing. In fact, what I should do is make that, as I said, a square so it fits in with what I am talking about. I'm not going to do it now, but use your own imagination and pretend that that's not a triangles. It's just that it's a square surface that may have divisions in it, like I've done here. So that's flat, like these other ones, but these are just the braces that go into that rectangle to, well, brace it. I'm not very imaginative, that's what they call. Anyway, then we come to this colourful little creature, and it's kind of going back to the a hybrid between these two. So, but mainly this this bluish coloured one. It has the peaks exactly the same as all the other domes, and you can see the opening, so you can, old Chris can get in and out. And what else did I want to cover on the... Oh, yes, just drawing these. I have altered the proportions of this particular rectangle compared to what it could be back here. So as you can see, this triangle is a wee bit squatter than this one. This is a wee bit taller. As soon as I put the divisions through there, I made this point, I made the divisions even in each direction, which is the end result here. Because I've got a flat surface here, I've got an intersection point of my braces, my diagonals. All I need to do is to use the grid-based starting point and draw a line through. Actually, I'll just show you how I did that. Seeing I'm so generous. Wee joke. I go back to there, and all I do is, and remember this was the grid upon which all the things that you see on screen it was generated. And yes, I will go through that. It's dead easy, guys. So, and it also means you don't need to use a specific drawing program which is easier or harder to use. It's so basic. I'm pretty certain you could do this on anything. Anyway, I click on there and it locates the point. I move up there, and I happen to know the radial measurement is 4.5 meters, or 4,500 millimeters, seen in the bottom right hand corner. And I add that. That gives me the length of this is now the surface of the dome. So it's from here, 4.5 to here, it's 4.5 to here, it's 4.5. Well, striking a line through this diagonal, I just make that line 4.5. So that's the surface of the dome. I'll double check. I go out to that point there, 4.5 to there, 4.5 there, 4.5 there, etc. So you can follow that. That is the radial dimension of the dome. Center of the dome, any line going out to the surface will be 4.5. Delete that. So I created this surface, or this peak in the rectangle, exactly like it would be, like a dome. It's 4.5. So that's how I got that. And those flat surfaces are just these ones that I dragged across. So there's the types of domes drawn off the one model, the base structure. The wireframe, the scaffold, the grid, and this quarter section. How can it get much easier than that? It's not drawn on geometry like it would be. Like Paul Robinson is, to me, the preeminent chappie in drawing these things. There's probably other people around that do a stellar job. I don't know them, so I use and promote Paul's. I promote him, and I know that he's had his book published or available, and you'd be wise if you want to have a look at the conventional domes to go chase him down, perhaps purchase and support him by buying his book. I don't have a book. I just have a very active jaw where I talk a lot. So 1, 2, 3, 4 styles of dome based upon the same geometry, identical geometry, used differently, or the base geometry. So, yay, very, very simple. Because, and why I said in a comment, I don't know what other people want. Their requirements may be different, and that's why I included this one. I know I've got a peaked area up there, but just using flat surfaces, triangulate them for stability, bolt them together, screw them together, whatever you choose, and go from there. Now, I also made a comment about the way I build the actual members upon the wireframe or the surfaces. I either build the structure below the wireframe or above the wireframe, and that has a significant effect, or just say effect on the result for how you build something. This idea here is you build boxes. The boxes have square ends. They are 90, in this case, this one here, 90-degree corners, and you make 4 of them. This one at the top is a box, square, not rectangular. You make 1 of them, and you triangulate, ignoring the fact that this particular one, I was a bit lazy or inadvertent, I left the peaked part in, but this would be flat and crisscrossed with braces, but it's just a square. So 4 rectangles like that, braced, 1 square like that, braced, and 4 triangles like that, self-braced. The triangle here may want something to come through the middle to help make it stronger. So you can still think of this as a flat surface, and of whatever particular dimension it happens to be. Now I'm just having a wee bit of so it's 3 meters, so it's not equilateral triangle. So very, very easy to build. Once you know the measurements off of your drawing, you could create a triangle of that dimension and then bolt it together. And this is why it's important, all of the faces will only meet at the bottom edge of the frames, leaving a fillet or opening between the 2 frames. Now, it may get a little bit complicated on this one. I don't know. I haven't looked at it. No, it won't. Just had a look. This is still concave between the 2. Remember I said this is convex. This is concave in these 2. But I'm talking about this one. I could well imagine, and I've seen domes made in a very similar light where they make it more simple to build. Well, this is one here. I'm catering to that. If you want to make struts only instead of frames for the boxes, then you would probably want to draw the dome below the grid to allow you to develop up that sort of idea. Yes, I will cover that. This one, as I said, is kind of a hybrid. It's not really. It's just a different way of, as I was saying, connecting the dots. This box here, if you were going to make it, you would wind up with 16 of these struts, and because they are identical to the other ones, so they are they're identical in measurement. I'm not too certain whether the cuts at each end are identical, but we'll cover that. It's been some time since I've actually worked on this particular dome. It's been about 6 months, so memory being what it isn't. The 16 struts there, much easier to cut than all the individual and different cuts like in this version up here that I'm circling to the left. 4 struts here, 16 there, you know, like you just make it, mate. Yeah. Now, to make this, I'm going to say safer for a couple of reasons, but if any of you have followed other videos, you'll understand why I'm saying that. And those that haven't, and this is your very first video, shame on you. But I'm a bit paranoid about this particular point and therefore hub in some of the types of domes that will be created using this layout. So therefore I'm a little bit of a nervous Nelly and I want to beef this up. I would anyway. But I am infilling the 4 sides of the dome to make it an enclosure rather than an open cover. I do like the arching shape of the opening, and I think others would actually want that and require that, so that the connections at this point I obsess over quite a bit, and I think I've come up with quite a straightforward and easy way of ensuring stability there. However, because I'm filling in the 4 ends, I'm actually also adding a triangle in here and down here, and this triangle, not shown, this triangle and this triangle become stable on itself, and I class it as a leg or a base upon which everything else rests. So therefore the load or the forces, the bending moment, whatever you want to call it, at this point is much better. Whereas I often say betterer. And that makes the demand on this joint a whole lot lower structurally. Now I can't tell you what that figure is for the stresses. I'm not an engineer, and therefore I am describing the issue, describing how things are done, not prescribing. That's outside my purview and capability. It's up to you to figure out, and through your due diligence and perhaps investigation with an engineer, what the impact would be and what the requirements are for your area. Even within the jurisdiction of New Zealand, there are different requirements in different areas throughout the country. I don't know where you live, and I don't know the conditions under which these domes would be built. Is it a high wind or high snow load, or is it a combination, or is there seismic issues? Got no idea. So therefore, your responsibility. But me, being paranoid and a builder, I want to see this area stabilised. So that's why I'm making a base, and why I go overboard a bit on any hub or connection at this point. Okay, so that's another overview, a whetting of the appetite to have you continue viewing the myriad of videos I put up. Many, and I accept, are downright boring. You get to listen to my lilting voice. Sorry for that. And many of the videos are, well, redundant. I will investigate something, because at the time I was learning, up to this point I'm going to, well, I'll say up to this point I was learning. I'm now going to say that I have arrived. It's a bit hazardous to say, but I've arrived, I think, at a point where I've resolved most of the questions that I was investigating. So, I better not do that. Hang on, where's my cursor? Cancel. Yeah, so I started to lose my train of thought. Anyway, look at the other videos, and some of them have kernels of information that you may require for your dome. The last ones I just did, I think they were numbered 100 or 101 or something like, shows you the number. That was looking at a particular hub idea that does have merit. I've seen it used in other domes. I had a look at it for myself and how I would want to build it in my workshop. It does simplify things down a lot, and for a certain type of dome or a person's preference, it may work. Am I developing it further? No. Am I interested in using that type of dome connection? No. And there are many other such examples like that. However, other people might. So that's why I include them. Rightio, well that's it. I just wanted to add this. This is what I've been calling the out of sequence videos. And, well, some of the videos started in 2022 and now it's not. It's gone on somewhat. I'm revisiting it. I am now working on my workshop to be able to produce things. Some of those things may well be having a look at making a life-size model or components for the dome itself. And upon my achieving that, I'll give my opinion on how easy it is to make in a normal workshop. Some domes require more work than others. This one, probably the least work required. The other aspect of domes is waterproofing or weatherproofing. And some of that comes down to the cladding choices or the membrane choices. There's also a way of constructing structures that help in that regard. I'm not going to say it will be a good idea, and that will be that would continue the investigation. And I'm going to go through a couple of ideas I've got, rummaging around in the old top paddock, and see just how viable it would be to make life easier, because there's nothing worse than having a cover that leaks, because it's not good. So there's all of that. This one, as I said, could be one of those structures that it aids, yeah. Well, we'll see. Okay, well, I'm going to wander off, have another cup of tea, then head out to the workshop, the garage, and do some more work. And with that, I'll bid you goodbye, and I will hopefully see you in the next one. Okay, see you later now. Bye.